Welcome back to Everlasting Summer. Having some fun. We're chasing after Electronic. But Elisa wasn't chasing me either. However, I really should not risk calling her that, right? Yeah, Elisa was, if you forget, Elisa was just chasing after Electronic, who was showing us around after he called her a name that she doesn't like. However, I really should not risk calling her that, even in my mind. After catching my breath, I wondered why I had reacted like that. Alright, she is a girl, an aggressive one, but why run away? Well, I was running after the guy. I wanted to learn more about the place. Failing to find a good answer, I sat down on a bench and stared at the monument to Genda. Genda? I think it's Genda. Looks like I'll have to kill my time alone, waiting for the dinner. I decided to go east, at least in the direction where the east would have been in my world. Soon after, I found myself near a football pitch. Right, this is across the pond, so football means soccer. I like soccer. The game was in full swing there. I guess watching it for a bit wouldn't do any harm. In my childhood and in the teen years, I was not a bad player myself, and even thought of going professional. But a few injuries in a row killed my desire to risk my health for the sake of uncertain chance in the game. There's always a few injuries. Kids of different ages were running in the pitch. I could see a boy about 10 and a girl of about 14 years old. A girl. Hey, that's Ileana. Alright, she plays football. What's so surprising? She seems a restless one, after all. I'm standing quite far from the pitch, but she still noticed me. Hey, you! Ileana shouted. Want to play? I did not know what to answer. On the one hand, it's no big deal running for 10 minutes. On the other hand, any wrong move in my situation could be a final one. But in any case, my attire wasn't suitable for this weather. If I played in winter boots and warm jeans, I would sweat like a pig. And playing barefoot and without jeans would be simply unethical. Maybe another time, alright? I shouted in response, turned around and walked back. I was followed by Ileana's screams about my pants, or about me being a pasty, or something like that. The evening was falling, making me feel tired and empty after a day wasted for no real purpose. I came back to the square, sat down on a bench, and threw an exhausted sigh. I'll better sit here and wait for dinner. After all, it's easier to search for answers when you're not hungry. They do give food to people here, right? You know, it's curious how the simplest human needs can break the will to ponder on things, to strive for something. Example, I feel hungry now and I care much less about where I am or what is happening to me. Could great people also be affected by this? And in such case, how did Spartacus start the slave uprising in ancient times? I can only conclude that I am not a great person, and it does not really matter. Such mechanism do I serve, doesn't really matter which mechanism do I serve as a gear, society, matrix, or weird pioneer camp. My thoughts were interrupted by the bells chiming from a loudspeaker on a light pole. You and I have two totally different understandings of the word bell. That was a horn. Must be a dinner call. I headed towards the canteen. It was a good thing that I now knew where it was. Olga was there, standing on the porch. I stopped and looked closely at her, as if I was expecting something. She looked back at me for a while, but at last came closer. Semyon, what are you waiting for? Come in already. Guess nothing bad can happen if I come with her. My stomach backed me up here. Whoa, that's a lot of people. The two of us went inside. The canteen looked like a canteen. I had a chance to visit a factory canteen at some point in my life. This one was exactly the same, just maybe a bit cleaner and more modern. Metal chairs and tables, glazed tiles on the walls and on the floor, unsophisticated tableware with occasional crack. Wait, what? With crack? Are you just allowed to do cocaine in Soviet Russia? Like, I guess that's what a canteen in a pioneer camp is supposed to look like. I think by crack they mean something different than my understanding of the word. In that context, at least. Semyon, wait a moment. We'll find you a place to sit. 1, 2, I say at least like 3 or 4 spots I could sit. She looked around the place. This game is like determined to make me pronounce this last name. Dvachevskaya. Hold on right there. Olga shouted at Elisa, who was passing by. What? What's up with your clothes? Anything wrong with it? Why am I saying this like she's a man? Indeed, her attire looks somewhat provocative. This is the second time you pointed this out, dude. I probably would have pointed it out too if you hadn't. Get your uniform nice and neat right now. Alright, alright. Elisa got her shirt right and walked past, shooting an unpleasant glare at me. What I knew. So, where can we find you a place to sit? I'm gonna guess a chair. There weren't a lot of free seats. You know what? I haven't saved in an hour and a half, so I'm gonna actually... I think this is save? Yes, save. Empty slot. Save game. Just to be safe. Alright, back. There weren't a lot of free seats. Go over there to Ilyana. Maybe I... Yeah, it's fine. The food's already on the table, too. I had no other choice but to accept. In common Russian language, kotleta, cutlet, is minced meat, fried or baked in the shape of a ball or a cylinder, close to American patties. Compote, careful how you say that, is a drink made by boiling fresh or dried fruit in a large amount of water. Compote in French. See, I like this because I'm actually learning. Call me a nerd, because that's what I am. Of course, there was the probability that the cutlets were poisoned with curare. The mashed potatoes were generously seasoned with arsenic, and the glass filled with excellent antifreeze instead of compote. Boiling fresh or dried fruit. Oh, that sounds actually kind of cool. Boiling fresh or dried. I gotta try that. I'm not even kidding. I was gonna like screenshot or take a picture with my phone or something, and then I remembered I'm recording. But it all looked so tasty that I had no chance to resist. Hey! What do you want? I replied rather rudely to Ilyana, who was sitting next to me. Why didn't you play football with us? Because of my clothes, said I, pointing to the source of the problem. Oh, alright then. Eat. However, there wasn't much left to eat. The cutlet was missing from the plate. No. Only she could do it. No, more precisely, none but Ilyana could do it. Give me back my cutlet. In a big family, you snooze, you lose. It can cost you a cutlet if you're careless. Give it back, I'm telling you. Attempt to take the cutlet. Do not attempt to take the cutlet. Well, I need to eat. This music. I'll actually be right back quickly. I'm gonna go get a drink. Right, I'm back. Feels much better to have a drink with me. So let's take the cutlet. I looked at her menacingly, and I was about to reach out my hand. See, I don't have it! And indeed, Ilyana's plate was empty. It seemed that this little girl eats as fast as she steals someone's cutlets. Do I sound louder now, or like my voice sounds better, not so hoarse? Like, jeez. Always keep multiple drinks by me. Remember that. Take it easy. We'll work something out now. She grabbed my plate and ran off. There was no point in following her. If they wanted to poison me here, they could have done it in a much easier way. About a minute later, Ilyana returned and handed me the plate with a smoking hot cutlet on it. Isn't like cutlery? Or was that type of food? I can't remember. I think it was food. Here's one for the starving. Thanks. That is all I could say. I was so hungry that my suspicions were gone in a flash. That looks fucking yummy. I'm getting hungry just looking at this. I picked up the cutlet with my fork and... Ah! What the hell? And what the... Some bug. No, not a bug. An insect. It's got legs and it's wiggling. This music. Death metal insect! The plate fell onto the floor and broke into pieces. The chair hit me hard on my leg while falling. I've disliked insects since I was a child, but when these creepy crawlies appear on my plate, that's just way too much. Oh god, it was Ilyana. I already know. You little. Ilyana seemed ready for such a twist and was already at the door, laughing as if she had heard a fresh stand-up comedy joke. I dashed to her. We ran out of the canteen. We were just a few dozen meters apart, and I felt I would catch this little girl easily. Don't underestimate a 14-year-old girl with a hell of a lot of energy. We ran through the square, past the club's house, and ran onto the forest path. I started to gasp for breath. I should have quit smoking, I guess. Lena passed out of sight on the next turn. It can't be true that she managed to get away from me. It simply can't. I was standing trying to catch my breath again. The evening was falling. Looks like I'm lost. It's a bad idea to stay in the woods at night. Better get back to the camp. I know if you go straight down the woods through this path, you get to the pier. I remember this. However, I had no clue which way to go whatsoever. Why do I have a better understanding of where to go and all I can see is pictures? Well, gotta choose at random. Do I get to choose? Nope. I strayed for quite some time in the forest and even thought of crying for help. Finally, I saw the camp's fence behind the trees. Everything falls back into place. Oh, I'm at the front gates again. The bus is gone, mumbled I quietly. On the one hand, there was nothing strange about it. The bus couldn't just stay there forever. On the other hand, it meant there was someone driving, because buses do not drive themselves. Or do they? Well, if you live in LA, they might. California in general. This world seemed too normal, but every event here had at least two explanations for it. An ordinary, real, everyday explanation, and a surreal one. Certainly the driver could have just been off for a snack, and I left too soon, and that's why. In any case, this is not a place for me. Whether that bus drives itself or not was probably an important question, but it was much more important how I had got here at all. And where this here was. I have a new admiration for people who can talk for, do these 3-hour-long videos and have, one drink. God, it's difficult. The fields and the woods, stretching towards the horizon, had no answers. There was nothing familiar about them. A strange, odd, and alien world. However, absolutely not frightening at the same time. Either my self-preservation instinct decided to resign from its job, or all this running around the camp and the local pioneers had lulled me so much with their carefree normality that I was sometimes simply forgetting what had happened to me just a couple of hours ago. Although I probably had just had no strength left to worry. All I wanted was some peace, calmness. I wanted to just have a break from it all, and only after that would I continue looking for answers, ready and reloaded. I still haven't even had food. However, that would be sometime later. What about now? Can I let myself to relax? Oh, turning into nighttime. It got completely dark, and in any case, it was better to spend the night in the camp. I was about to head back when someone came silently from behind. Hello, what are you doing here so late? It was Slavia, standing before me. I was so surprised that I got a seizure. What? So, you haven't caught Oliana, have you? She smiled. I nodded disappointedly inside. No wonder. No one ever has. Yeah, she's a real rocket girl. She could have found a better use of her energy than looking for adventures, but that's what little kids love to do. You must be hungry. You didn't manage to have dinner at all. I thought it was my stomach racing. Indeed, I had completely forgotten about hunger, but after these words of hers, my stomach drew my attention to itself by giving a traitorous rumble. Slavia smiled. Let's go then. What, is the canteen still open? It's all right. I have the keys. The keys? Yes, I have the keys to all the facilities in this camp. How come? Well, I'm something like the camp's leader's aide here. I see. Well, let's go. It was an offer you can't refuse. When we reached the square, Slavia stopped in her tracks. Excuse me, I should warn my roommate that I'll be late. She's so punctual herself that she'll be worrying otherwise. You go on to the canteen and I'll come in a minute, alright? Alright, this doesn't sound good. I really did not expect that at such a late hour someone would be there besides me, and that somebody was apparently hopelessly trying to open the door. Without any second thoughts, I walked up onto the porch. The lockpicker turned out to be Elisa. I should have probably kept off and waited. She looked at me intently for a while, then said, "Don't just stand there. Give me a hand or something." Meaning, "Help me open the door." "Why?" "'Cause I want some buns with kefir. The dinner wasn't enough." Is it really a good idea? Aren't you hungry yourself, huh? Lena didn't let you have a normal dinner, did she? She smiled sarcastically. It's true, she didn't. It's fine. Slavia... Well, I was doing that in her voice. Look at who's talking, Chris. It's fine. Slavia will come now and... What? Guess I shouldn't have said that. I'm off then. And you'll pay for this. You owe me 2 already. Having said that, Elisa disappeared into the night. And what was the first one for? Slavia didn't keep me waiting for too long. Is everything fine? Yeah, why are you asking? No reason, it's nothing. It was better if I did not tell her about Elisa. Everything's fine. I said that and instantly heard a trace of dishonest in my voice. Hi there, kitty. Would you like something? I'm busy. If you want to just lay down here, then that's fine, but... Well, shall we go? As for Slavia, she didn't seem to have noticed anything. Or at least she was pretending she didn't. We entered the canteen. Wait a bit, I'll go get something. I sat down on a chair and obediently waited for my savioress. Savioris? My dinner was simple, a few buns and a glass of kefir. Kefir? Kefir. Wasn't that the thing that's like the fresh fruits? No wonder, I bet hungry pioneers finished everything off. However, even that was far better than most of my usual diet. Slavia sat across the table and looked at me while I was eating. Is there something on my face? I really gotta look at who's talking. No, just... She smiled. So, how did you like your first day in the camp? Well, I don't really know. It's silly to ask someone who suddenly found himself in a different reality whether he liked the food in the canteen, the camp leader, or the assigned hut. I have an assigned hut? It's alright, you'll soon get used. Slavia stared into the window dreamily. Frankly speaking, I have no desire to get used to such things, but as for her, she doesn't know. Or at least she wants me to think that she doesn't. Well, all in all, it's nice here. I had to somehow break the awkward silence. Do you think so? She asked without any interest. Yeah, this place is so... I wanted to say retro, but I managed to hold that back. After all, it was retro for me, but what about them? It might be the only kind of life they knew. If the term life was applicable here at all. So, how? She looked at me closely. Okay, Spirit, you gotta let me go. Okay. As there's something important dependent on my answer. Well, I don't know. Lovely. Yeah, it's lovely here. I guess you're right. She smiled again. It's very good that you think so. Why? Well, not everybody likes it here. And what about you? Me? No, the other you here. Yes. I love it here. It's great. And then you don't need to worry about what other people think. Well, I don't really worry. Slavia laughed. This conversation seemed to be leading me far astray from where I wanted to get. And you're worried yourself. Really? Why? Well, when someone is chewing so intensely... I'm sorry. It's okay. I couldn't force myself to be more careful with this girl. But why exactly her, with any local inhabitant? Every one of them looked completely normal to me. Precisely normal. So normal it sends chills down the spine into the marrow. Normal, not like a neighbor to human with the power drill in one hand and subwoofer in the other. What? Not like a passenger human you can often meet in a subway or public transport. Not like a coworker human next table in the open plan office. Not even like a friend human who only differs from other humans in his constant insistence. All of them looked normal, as I would expect them to be, and with their own downsides, but without any superpowers. And Slavia was also cute. I glanced at her stealthily, not knowing what to say. I'm sorry, I wanted to show you the camp, but ran off my feet. I didn't miss anything while being on my own, I guess. Are you sure you haven't missed anything at all? She smiled so hard that I had to cast my eyes down in confusion. Well, how could I know? It's the first day I'm here. Okay, and what have you seen so far? I've seen the square, this canteen, the football field. And what about the beach? Just from afar. You should really go there, or let's do it together. Yeah, okay, we will. Her naturalness, this guy natural, started to scare me. But then I thought, what if everything that happens here is how it's supposed to be, and this world looks strange just for me, but for them it is native? Or maybe I get thrown into the past. Maybe I got thrown into the past. Yes, this would explain a lot. Can I ask a stupid question? No. Slavia smiled and stood up from the table. It's late. Will you find the way to Olga by yourself? Of course I will. Why should I go there? She'll settle you with someone. What for? Probably this question seems stupid because Slavia burst into good laughter. You need to sleep somewhere, right? That makes sense. Fine, I'll go then. Good night. Night. It's strange that she left in such a hurry. A key bundle left in a door lock caught my attention. I was going to catch up to Slavia, but where does she live? And knocking on every door during the middle of the night doesn't sound like a bright idea. I'm going to take the keys so no one steals them. I'd better take them. We'll give them back tomorrow because she knows what happens here at night. Because who knows? I was like, she knows. What does she know? Such thoughts gave me a chill. It is me who needs to be careful here in the first place. The night, though being dark, wasn't silent at all. One could hear chirping crickets, songs of the night birds, and rustling trees from everywhere. Sudden desire to follow Slavia's advice and go to the camp leader's cabin had appeared. Still looks like he's facepalming. I don't know why, but the look of the unknown bronze builder of communism put me into a constructive mood. I sat on the bench and started to recall everything that happened today. That was all my constructive mood could offer. Here was much brighter than near the canteen. Bladed pioneers were running by, so this place did not seem scary at all. Bus, summer camp, girls. I was so tired from everything new and strange that could not come up with a single explanation of what was going on. I heard a barely noticeable rustle nearby. I shivered and looked in that direction. Girl. Reading a book. Ah, Lena. I decided to come closer and talk. She was the only new person I met here without having a few words chat. Hi, what are you reading? Lena was so surprised that she jumped up. Sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. Never mind. She blushed and stared into the book again. So, what are you reading? On the cover was written, Gone with the Wind. Praise the book. Good book. Thanks. Honestly speaking, I haven't read it, but I think such literature suits her very well. Lena doesn't seem to be interested in continuing the talk. Well, if I'm bothering you... No, she answered while still looking into the book. Can I sit aside for a while? Why? And really, why? Maybe just because I was very tired of being with company. I was very tired, and being with company is better than being alone. Maybe I wanted to try to find out something from her. I carefully examined Lena. But no, I doubt that. Well, I don't know. I'm not allowed to? Feel free. But if I'm bothering you... Oh my god, dude, just sit down. No, you don't. I can leave, just tell... Everything's alright. Okay then. I sat on the end of the bench carefully. After such an intensive talk staying here... After such an intensive talk, staying here was the last thing I wanted. But it won't be nice to just stand up and leave. Didn't really go well, huh? Lena hasn't answered anything. It seems I made a fool out of myself. I bet if it was Ilyana here, she'd give a good laugh at me. Do you enjoy being here? I recalled Slavia's question and I thought it would be a good start for a conversation. Yes. She slightly smiled. I guess I like it too. Lena definitely isn't very sociable, and probably can't support the meaningless conversation as easy as Slavia. But there was something in her that attracted the attention. Like a momentary sight or reflection in your glasses at rainy autumn evening, which makes you turn around and stare into darkness, searching for something that you saw out of the corner of your eye. Of course, you weren't able to distinguish or understand what it was, but it still felt so tempting. Lena was still reading the book without paying any attention to my presence, and I had no intention at all to ask her anything about this camp or this world in general. Beautiful night. Yes. How in the world would you start a conversation with her? It's late. I have to go. Yes, it's quite late. Good night. Night. There's something strange in this girl. At first glance, she is a typical shy and modest pioneer girl, but the mystery of Lena took its own place in massive list of mysteries of this camp, which I started to put together in my head. Lazy evening. There's nothing like a good time with nothing to do. I headed towards Olga's cabin. The light in the house was on. Hello, Semyon. You're quite late. Yeah, I went for a walk to look around the camp. Alright, you'll be sleeping here. She pointed her finger at one of the beds. Right here? I got a bit surprised. Yeah, is something wrong? Well, you're out of free cabins anyways. The camp leader smiled, but I'd rather think it was a smile of politeness. You do want to be a decent pioneer, don't you? Don't you? There was a clear emphasis on the word decent. Yep, sure. I got lost in thought for a moment. Don't you mind, mademoiselle? She looked at me oddly, with surprise and some kind of offense in her eyes. Pioneers should respect the elders, Olga said strictly. You're 25-ish. Of course you should. No one argues that. I blathered, not realizing what was wrong. Shouldn't you also? She stared at me. Whoa. Under such a gaze, even mithril forged by the best dwarf masters of the deepest dungeons would melt. Should I what? I feel like the statue in the square. What's up? Did I seriously just say that to her? Nuisance and lack of understanding made me talk a level louder. You must address adults appropriately. Yes, of course, there are a lot of strange things here. But this girl is just a couple of years older than me. Or maybe even younger. But I decided not to argue. While just a few minutes ago I would never call her adult, I have to admit that she was also given a strong character. And in any case, I wasn't in a position to argue. As you say, ma'am. I've mumbled. That's way better. This is how a decent pioneer should conduct oneself. And now it's time to sleep. Honestly speaking, I wasn't going to become neither a decent nor indecent pioneer. Just yesterday, I wasn't going to become a pioneer at all. But do I have a choice now? No desire will put you down with fire. This is a motto Olga was probably going to use. I went into the bed and closed my eyes, only to realize how tired I was after today. Something hammered in my head awfully, as if my brain started a night shift. And they seemed to be aimed more at rolling the steel than working with something more sensitive. The bus flew through my mind. And the square with the monument. Canteen full of pioneers, and a malicious face of Ilyana. God. Slavia. In a bikini. Lena. And even recalling Elisa hasn't given me much of a negative feeling. What am I here? What if I'm here for good? Enjoy it. Day 2. And that, I think, is where we're going to end it off for tonight. I've been recording, I think this is the 3rd or 4th episode, so yay. We'll continue this next time. Bye-bye.